It's the start of the third week of our 10-week journey to strong side splits, and this week marks the end of the beginner section of the program. We'll be working to really establish our foundation of basic strength and flexibility before next week we move into the intermediate section of the program. But first things first, let's start today's session. It's always great to have you back for another strong side splits training session. When you make it through this session, when you complete this session, you'll be just a little bit closer to achieving full 180-degree side splits. So let's make a good start towards that with 30 squats. Now, if you've been doing well with this squat exercise, I'm going to encourage you to consider taking them out just a little bit wider and squatting down deeper, okay? So even though this is a warm-up exercise, if it's safe and comfortable, see if you can extend your range of motion, even if it's just a little bit more than when you started 2 weeks ago. In a way, it's a measure of your cold flexibility progress. Of course, make sure your technique is still great. Stick your butt out, knees behind your toes, get your quads at least parallel to the ground, and breathe with your movement. And then, when you've finished your 30 reps, you can take a short break before we start our next warm-up exercise, ham spines. Okay, next up we're doing 30 ham spines. Target muscles here are our hamstrings and spinal erectors. And you really want to start very light with these, okay? You've only completed one warm-up exercise so far, and that didn't cover your hamstrings, so just pace yourself into this. And like I said previously, one thing that can really help with good pacing so that you're not working too light and so you're definitely not pushing yourself too hard is to have intentional breathing. And that just means that you're controlling your breathing and breathing on purpose. So here for this warm-up exercise, it's best to breathe in as you go down and then breathe out as you lift up. So that way you're breathing out as your target muscles contract, as your hamstrings contract. Hopefully that helps you feel better as you work. If you feel comfortable and ready for it, you can start to increase your range of motion just a little bit. You can start to get yourself down lower. Just make sure your back's still straight. That's really important. Keep your chin up, look straight ahead, and keep your shoulders back. That's going to help you keep your back safe. And just as important, it's going to help you focus the work on your target muscles, your hamstrings. Okay, keep it up. We're almost done. So just make sure you're on target to finish all 30 reps before the next warm-up exercise. Now the next warm-up exercise is elbows, knees with 30 reps, and our target muscles are our adductors. Now you might need to try a few adjustments to really feel the stretch in your adductors without burning out your quads. Okay, so like I said in the previous video, it's not a squat to work your quads, it's a position to work your adductors. For me, I can pretty much hold this position forever because there's no workload on any of my muscles really. It's almost a rest. But yeah, if you don't find it working for you yet, you can just do the seated adductor stretch instead. So you can sit down with your feet together and knees wide to stretch your adductors that way. It's quite similar, but you won't be able to put as much load on your adductors. Time for our set of side squats, and we're doing 15 on both sides. The target muscles here are the adductor group, especially the gracilis. Now, as I've been pointing out, everyone's going to get this exercise to work in slightly different ways, but you're still going to need to keep one leg extended out to the side as you squat down on the other leg. If it helps, try to lean forward just a little bit so that the stretch stays on your adductors more than your hamstrings. And as you work through the reps, I really encourage you just to take it easy and keep in mind that this is just a warm-up. Like I said before, in a normal warm-up, you can really increase your intensity, but the difference here is that we're working at extreme ranges of motion, pretty much your maximum range of motion. And if you're not careful, you could injure yourself. So while it might sound like I'm overemphasizing caution, I'd rather do that than push you into an injury. I really want to see you obviously not just complete this program, but complete this program and achieve awesome flexibility. And if you're not careful during these beginner sessions, if you get injured early in your training, then it's going to be really hard for you to get strong side splits. Anyway, practice the best technique that you can. Keep getting a feel for what works best for your body. And now for side leg raises. The target muscles here are the hip adductors on the inside of our legs again, and we're going for 20 reps on each leg. And just the same as it is for front leg raises, we've got 1:30 to complete the exercise, so give yourself about 45 seconds for each leg. The principle for side leg ups is very similar to front leg ups. That is, you really want to work at raising your leg with a controlled movement rather than making it a swing. A helpful way to do that is to think about engaging the hip abductors, the muscles on the outside of your legs. Engage them to lift the leg rather than using your body to swing the leg. Okay, if you've got 20 reps done, then it's time to change and do the same for your other leg. The second tip is that you need to try your best to lift your leg straight out to the side so you can pretty much look down a straight line from your head, through your shoulders, your hips and your heel. If you can imagine seeing yourself from a high top view, you'd see a straight line, not a bent V kind of line, which you'd have if you're leaning over your chest, if you're leaning over your front. Okay, so lift your leg with control, don't swing it around, and when you lift it along a straight line. And the next warm-up exercise is our front leg ups. And our target muscles are primarily our hamstrings and partly our hip flexors. We've got 20 reps for each leg and 1.5 to get them done. Now, as I really emphasized over the last week, as we do these, try your best to lift your leg with a controlled movement as opposed to a swing. And to make sure you're lifting and not swinging, try to use your hip flexors to do the work. Your quads are going to keep your legs straight, but your hip flexors will do the lifting. And just remember that we're still warming up, so there's no need to smash yourself. Control the leg raise so you're just getting a light to moderate stretch. You can always take it further later when you've really adapted to the program. Change over when you've hit 20 reps on one leg and begin the same work on your other leg. Another thing that you need to be really careful of is that you don't bend your back by leaning forward. If you really need to lean, then lean back a little bit. Of course, you need to adjust your posture for your balance, but still do your best to keep the stretching stress on your hamstrings by trying to keep your back straight. Great work so far. We've almost completed the warm-up. We've got our actual stretching exercises coming up, and because we're starting another new week, we're going to modify some of the exercises from last week. We have full side splits first, and that's unchanged, especially the key technique, which is to stretch our target muscles to their maximum range of motion and then contract our target muscles at their maximum range of motion. Okay, so as always, stretch, and then contract. And we've got 16 reps for everything in this session. Our target muscles here are the adductor group, and this is just the start of our third week, so it's still a good idea to take care as you begin, and as much as you need to, support yourself with your hands. Listen to your body and take yourself into even just a light stretch if that feels best. Right, so when you're in position, take some of your weight from your hands and start to shift that weight to your legs. With your feet out wide, you should definitely feel a stretch in your adductors on the inside of your legs. And now that you're in a stretch, do your best here to contract your adductors. Even if the contraction is light and brief, that's totally fine. Okay, next up we're modifying our kneeling adductor stretch just a little bit. Set your stance long, and instead of resting your knee completely on the floor, we're going to try to lift the rear knee up and bear our weight as much as possible with our stretched adductors. That's the really important part, okay? You need to get your rear adductors working and helping to suspend your rear knee in the stretch. So raise your rear knee into the stretch with your back straight and tall, and then contract your rear adductor in the stretch. Try to hold that stretch as you lower your rear knee to the floor, and then repeat. Okay, so up, contract, down. Again, up, contract, and down. The whole time, try to keep that stretch. Now, this is an important point about positioning, okay? Firstly, you can't lean your torso forward. Keep your back straight and tall. Secondly, you really can't set your hips square across your front, and you really can't have your rear knee point straight down at the floor. If you set your position like that, well, it's mechanically impossible to stretch your rear adductors. You'll just be stretching your hip flexors instead. So you have to turn your hips out, not having your hips flat at the front. And you also have to turn your rear knee out. You can't have your rear knee pointing down, okay? Your rear knee has to point out. For the next exercise, you'll need to get your chair or stool again for our rolling elevated hamstring stretch. We're modifying it again so that we can stretch the hamstring in slightly different ways. Place your heel on your stool again with a straight leg, then lean forward with a straight back until you feel a stretch in your hamstrings. From there, you need to do two things. Contract your hamstrings by pushing your heel down through the seat, and in the same movement, try to pull the chair towards yourself. Then while your hamstrings are contracted in the stretch, try to roll your foot to the left and to the right. And that's one rep. Complete all your reps for this set, then change over to your next leg. Keep working through your reps, stretch out that target muscle, then contract the target muscle in the stretch, and then roll your foot to the left and to the right. When you finish them, move into position for your next exercise, which is our usual side squats. Okay, side squats, and as always, our target muscles are our adductors, the muscles on the inside of our thighs and hips. If you want to stretch your adductors more, try to lean forward a bit, like forward over your front and hips. Just take care with your balance when you do that. Okay, doing that should really help you stretch your adductors, but you also really want to contract your adductors, and you can do that by trying to push your heel through the floor as you come up out of a squat. Obviously, a lot of the work is going to be done by your quads, but do your best to engage your adductors. Even if it's just a bit, you'll still be training your adductors to be strong at their maximum range of motion. Another thing is, really don't just rush through these. If you just race through these exercises and completely miss the target muscle of each stretching exercise, you probably won't achieve your goal of strong side splits, okay? You really need to be conscious and aware of your training and make your reps intelligent reps, right? Intelligent reps so you know what you're doing and that you know your training is going to take you to strong side splits. And the last exercise for this cycle, our seated adductor stretch, targeting our adductors on the inside of our thighs and hips. When you're seated with your knees wide, you can use your abductors, the muscles on the outside of your legs, use your abductors to pull your knees down and wide. And then when you're in the stretch, when your adductors on the inside are stretched, use the same muscles to contract. So use your stretched adductors to contract. And that makes one rep. So just continue carefully and safely all the way to finish your set. And remember, you can always try different positions for this, seated upright with your elbows on your knees, or just seated straight up with no elbows, or lying all the way back. Whatever works best for you. We're about to finish the first cycle of our exercises, and when we do, we'll repeat the exercises with another 2 cycles, starting again with full side splits. Make sure you're positioned safely, and I'll count you through your 16 reps to help you get strong at your maximum range of motion. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Stretch your adductors. 5, 6, 7, 8. Make sure you contract your adductors. 9, 10, 11. Focus on good technique. 12. Try not to rush. 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay, done. Great work completing your second set of full side splits. Take your time to move safely out of this stretch and then into the next stretch, which is our kneeling adductors. Kneeling adductors again, and we have 16 reps for both legs, targeting our adductors. Remember the stretch contract technique as we work through these? Okay, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, keep it straight back, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Excellent work with the first leg. Let's finish the other leg now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, last one, and 16. Okay, all done for that set. Great work. Let's take the time to ease out of this stretch and move into our next stretch, the elevated hamstring stretch. Okay, elevated hamstring stretch, and this is another exercise that we have both legs to work. 16 reps each, targeting our hamstrings. Make sure you contract this stretch, okay? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure your back is straight. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, one more to go, 16. Okay, great job. Let's change legs now and finish the set. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Contract the stretch. 7, 8, 9. Keep the stretch. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay, let's use this time to get ready for our next stretching exercise, our side squats. Okay, feet wide for side squats now. We've got 16 reps for both sides and we're targeting our adductors. Keep that in mind, keep the target muscle in mind so that you really try your best to stretch and contract your adductors as we work through the set. Okay, let's get it done. And 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Make sure you engage your adductors. 4, 4, 5, 5, and make sure you stretch your adductors. 6, 6, 7, 7, start to take it further if you can. 8, 8, so extend the stretch. 9, 9, 10, 10, 11, 11, 12, 12, 13, 13, 3 more to go, 14, 14, 15, 15, last one, 16, and 16. Great work with your side squats. Take your time to ease out of the position and then start to get ready for the next exercise, the seated adductor stretch. Okay, 16 reps of our seated adductor stretch, and our target muscle here is our adductor group. Remember that we want to contract our target muscle in the stretch, okay? Let's start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, last one, and 16. Excellent work finishing your set of seated adductor stretches and the second cycle of exercises. Now try to use this time to move into the next exercise, the full side splits, as we start our final cycle of exercises. Make sure you position safely, and I'll count you through your 16 reps to help you get strong at your maximum range of motion. And 1, 2, 3, 4, stretch your adductors, 5, 6, 7, 8, make sure you contract your adductors, 9, 10, 11, focus on good technique, 12, try not to rush, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Great work completing your third and final set of full side splits. Take your time to move safely out of this stretch and then into the next stretch, which is our kneeling adductors. Kneeling adductors again, and we have 16 reps for both legs, targeting our adductors. Remember the stretch contract technique as we work through these? Okay, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, keep it straight back, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Excellent work with the first leg. Let's finish the other leg now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, last one, and 16. Okay, all done for that set. Great work. Let's take the time to ease out of this stretch and move into our next stretch, the elevated hamstring stretch. Okay, elevated hamstring stretch, and this is another exercise that we have both legs to work. 16 reps each, targeting our hamstrings. Make sure you contract this stretch, okay? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, make sure your back is straight. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, one more to go, 16. Okay, great job. Let's change legs now and finish the set. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, contract the stretch, 7, 8, 9, keep the stretch, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay, let's use this time to get ready for our next stretching exercise, our side squats. Okay, feet wide for side squats now. We've got 16 reps for both sides and we're targeting our adductors. Keep that in mind, keep the target muscle in mind so that you really try your best to stretch and contract your adductors as we work through the set. Okay, let's get it done. And 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, make sure you engage your adductors. 4, 5, and make sure you stretch your adductors. 6, 7, 7, start to take it further if you can. 8, so extend the stretch. 9, 10, 11, 11, 12, 12, 13, 13, 3 more to go, 14, 14, 15, 15, last one, 16, and 16. Great work with your side squats. Take your time to ease out of the position and then start to get ready for the next exercise, the seated adductor stretch. Okay, 16 reps of our seated adductor stretch, and our target muscle here is our adductor group. Remember that we want to contract our target muscle in the stretch, okay? Let's start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, last one, and 16. Okay, great work completing your third and final set of the seated adductor stretches, which means that's session number 7 out of 30, done. And great work for making it through. As always, I hope you're feeling great, and I hope you're feeling a little bit stronger and a little bit more flexible too. And today's tip is really just to point out the fact that you're very free to move backwards or forwards through this program however you need to. And I say need to in the sense of necessity rather than like to in the sense of preference, okay? I say it on purpose because your body will tell you if it's struggling with the rep quantity. So for example, today, if 16 reps was much too hard for you, there's really no harm either repeating the session in 2 days' time or even working back from a previous session from perhaps last week or earlier. Because if you work through this program slower, sure, you might need more than 10 weeks to achieve strong side splits, maybe 11 weeks or 12 weeks, but isn't that better than, getting injured and needing 6 months to get strong side splits? But even that's better than seriously injuring yourself and never achieving strong side splits. So yeah, for that reason, don't hesitate to repeat sessions or work through earlier sessions if your body says you need to. Okay, so as always, let me know how you went with today's session, and of course if you have any questions, and if you want to work on more than strong side splits, make sure you subscribe to this channel and check out the other 10,000 method progressive training videos. And then when you come back in 2 days' time to follow the next new video in the series, we'll add 1 more rep to each exercise and continue training for strong side splits. Okay, stay disciplined so that you can make it back then.